And I like to say this so that you can wipe your own asshole when you are 80 years old, right? So that you don't get someone to wipe it for you. Second podcast.
Welcome to Unfair Advantage, where leaders share the edge behind building great companies and career. Today, what we're going to talk about first is the unfair advantage behind Move Private Fitness. I know a lot of people are very, very, very curious and sometimes even
Skeptical.
I
think so, yeah.
To the point where people misunderstood, things. So today you'll be uncovering what we do behind the scenes to build great culture, great system, and having a team of leaders that are actually out there pushing for their own purpose, the company's mission, and also having everyone win, including our clients, of course.
We can start with our company's purpose statement and what is our mission.
All right. So our purpose statement is to enable humanity to achieve a holistic life of breakthrough. So what that really means is, for the longest time, I think in fitness, people have always thought fitness is fitness, life is life, work is work, right? They've never really connected them together as a way of life. Okay, so it's either you choose fitness, you forget about everything else, or you choose work and forget about fitness. So we want to allow people to know that at the end of the day, fitness is a mean to an end.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you want greater relationship, marriage, business, friendship, self-actualization, fitness is going to help you to amplify whatever pursuit that you're on. And we hope that our clients, which is, currently it's good to see that it's already happening. Our clients are able to see, hey, look, I come to train at Move or do whatever fitness workouts on their own. It's just a way for them to say, hey, look, I want to do more in life, but first I gotta fill my own cup. All right. And the way we approach this very thing, fitness, is very holistic, very sustainable. This is what we're all about. Okay. And it's very interesting that when we went to Singapore to do our career studio partner seminar, people there, fitness professionals, were like, oh, wow, I really resonate with you. I'm so aligned with you. I've been looking for this kind of company to work with, which got me thinking, isn't that how fitness is supposed to be anyway? Apparently not. What do you think?
I think the fitness industry has come to a stage. I mean, very interesting enough, I posted something about the 80% licensing reduction. Right, we'll talk about it another day. I got a very interesting comment from someone, and in a way, it kind of resonated, right? The person says like, and this is probably from someone not in the fitness industry, but from a lens of just an outsider. And what he wrote was, he feels like fitness has become this glorified industry where people just go to work out so that they can wear their Lululemon or Alo and just look good. And then trainers are just like mini celebrities. Everything looks good on the surface, but it doesn't really help anyone in the long run. So that really got me thinking that, wow, okay, that's actually very interesting, because for someone like the person who commented, looks like a normal 9 to 5 person, like the average Joe. To them, fitness is so unobtainable because it looks like it's all shiny and glittery. It's very glamorous. I don't know if that makes sense.
It's only when you do it if you have time.
It's like, it's no longer about doing it for health and for actual health and fitness. It's more about doing it because I want to do it for Instagram. I want to do it for social media. Yeah. So that was the very interesting thing that this person was sharing. And I also feel like, having managed Move for a bit, when we talk to our clients, they come to us because they feel like this is a very, very nice and safe space where they can actually focus on themselves, on their health with our personal trainer, versus needing to worry about walking into a gym, what other people are going to think about them, how are my clothes. People come to our gyms, they don't need to put a facade or makeup on. They don't need to come to the gym to look good first so that they look good for everyone. It's not performative. It's literally just people coming in and doing what they need to do so that it will move the needle in their life.
To be honest, most of our clients, the kind of gym clothes they wear is not what you see on social media, right? They just wear like a baggy shirt from 15 years ago, right? One of those Milo run, right? They're just, you know what? I'm just doing it because for my longevity in life, for my kids, for my business. They're not really here to show.
Actually, what I would say is the people that come to our studio, they come because they want to make a change in their life. It can be a better lifestyle, it can be to build confidence. There is some vanity metric in it, but it's not all about vanity. I think what is happening in the fitness industry is there is just so every metric is being placed on vanity. The transformation, the before and after, the look at me and my skimpy clothing. I want to do this because it's gonna make my ass look good. It's gonna make my ass pop. I think Move gravitates very, very far away from that. We're more of, okay, sure, you want a nice butt, but guess what? Having a nice butt also means that you have better posture, you've got proper muscles. And I like to say this so that you can wipe your own asshole when you are 80 years old, right? So that you don't get someone to wipe it for you. I think that's very important. I think that's why a lot of people come to Move and train. And because of that niche and demand, that is also a reason why our coaches come and work for us, because then they can really focus on really improving the lives of their clients, giving them an unfair advantage in life.
And also, for the longest time, I think fitness has been an intimidation. We want to make it an invitation, right? How we want to make it an invitation or how we want to make it more inclusive is by having a space where it's small, it's not huge. We have been through many different kind of model in the past where, we had for myself, I had a previous business where it was 5,000 square feet. And the very first version of Move was about 3,500 square feet. And eventually we realized that this size is perfect for those who really seek for a bit of inclusivity and also, more importantly, having an environment that fosters confidence. Because I remember when I had a personal training client a few years ago, she actually came from Singapore. She came to Malaysia to take a sabbatical leave to just fill her own cup. So she was looking for a personal trainer, and then I happened to be her trainer. So she said back in Singapore, she was hiring a PT. The trainer was getting her to do a sled push. All right, sled push is something where, you see this long thing here. You're pushing that metal thing across. Usually you put some weights on it. If you're familiar with high rocks, she said she didn't want to do it. And the trainer said, why? She said, I don't feel confident to push it and have my butt sticking out in front of everyone in a commercial gym. So the trainer forced her to do it. She said she was crying and doing it at the same time. I was like, I just couldn't brain it. I'm like, I'm sure there were thousands of other things you could have got her to do instead of just sled push. Right? There are many different exercises. Why was the trainer so adamant in the first place? Secondly, that environment that she was in was not good for her, right? She wanted somewhere more private, more intimate. And when she was training with me, she was doing sled push, but it was in front of me, another one or two coaches, another one or two clients. And it was no problem for her. So this is the very reason why we want to make sure that, first of all, the space is not so huge that we need to have a lot of head counts in many ways, clients, coaches, staff. But at the same time, we want to make sure that, this is a place where we can only fit a finite amount of people and we don't overbook it. There were times when we had opportunity next door, right? A tenant was moving out. They asked, do you want to take over? We're like, no, we don't want to. At first, it was very tempting because we could have just knocked down the wall and then say, now we have expanded, yay. But then we realized the clients that we serve would not like it.
So would that be the unfair advantage then?
Yes, we realized that very earlier on. In the real beginning, when we had the very first Move, all right, it was huge. It was catered for group class kind of model. We actually used to do group class. So very interestingly, because before that very first branch, we actually had more like the original units, about 1 minute across the road. So our trainers, our clients had the choice to be like, hey, where do you want to train? Interestingly, the clients that were with us for a long time from that previous older unit say they wanted to go back there and train. At first, we were like, wow, this place is new, it's grand. I mean, why would they train in that old place? In fact, that old place smelled a little bit. And we actually made a joke of, Maybe the clients love that old smell,
Right.
right? That old smell, and of course our clients are usually the older, like 45 and above back then. So yeah, maybe it's just a creature of habit kind of thing where you just want to go back to the same old place. But I think the reality is people just enjoy a lot more to be in an environment where it's more private, smaller, even if they had to climb 3 stories without lift. They were still willing to go there. Versus the newer unit that we had, bigger, ground floor, parking right in front of it.
I think also for context for the audience, right, why it works for us is because I think we also took the liberty to really understand our niche and our market. Let's be real, at the prices that we're charging and the equipment that we have and the gym size that we have, we're not gonna attract a gym bro or a gym sis. No one's gonna come here and deadlift 300 kilograms. No one's gonna come here to train to power lift.
Or body build.
Yeah, bodybuilding and all that. But that's just not our niche, right? It's just not our niche. So our niche is what I learned this term from our CEO Sam, right? Quiet luxury.
Quiet luxury.
Yeah, that's our niche, quiet luxury. So to give context, what does a Move Private Fitness clientele demographic look like? Generally ages 40 to 60. We do service 12-year-olds with proper what do you call it?
Program guidance.
Correct. Up to 91, 92-year-olds, but predominantly 40 to 60-year-olds, T20 and above, so C-suites,
business owners,
entrepreneurs, so on and so forth, housewives, house husbands, right? And interestingly enough, 70% of our clients are female. So you can see that if you understand this niche, right? Think about it, these are the people who are 40 and above. They've got good income, they got disposable income, and they've probably come in a time in their life where, wow, okay, I really need to prioritize my health already because I've got all this money, but every time I travel, everything just seems to be breaking down. So they just want a place where they can, number one, where they can feel very confident that the person that's going to train them knows what they're doing. And it has to be done in a way that they also understand that there will be progress. So our clients are very, very niche in a sense. And everything that we do at Move, we want to ensure that we're able to cater to this niche. That's why we don't allow our clients to remove their clothing and take muscle selfies or whatever. Yeah, we don't do all these kind of things. We focus on the little things that will really move the needle for them. For example, you can see the space is very nice. It's very minimalistic and aesthetic. That's number one. Number two, we also ensure that the right kind of music is played. Don't get me wrong, I've had clients where if we're just the two of us in the gym, we've played heavy metal and all that, it's all good, right? We just want to make sure that the coach and client connection is very, very strong for our target market.
That's right. So sometimes there are people coming to look at our studio. They were surprised and amazed, or sometimes complain that we don't have machines, right? Machines are great. I enjoy having, the ability to go to machine gyms to do my leg extension, to do my hip thrust. But then the thing is this, like David said, our clients come here, they don't go, what machine do you have? What brand is your machine?
They don't even know what hammer strength or ilico is.
Yeah, you tell them that, they'll be like, I don't know, you mean Hermes strength?
Dior, Jimbo.
No.
Maybe.
Right? So they won't know a lot of these brands, right? Of course, there are clients that know these brands. Great, you should go to other gyms, So they don't know these brands. They come here for the very three thing. Okay, so number one, of course, results. Now, results, what we mean by, in the context of Move, is it's not always the number on the scale.
No.
Right? It's not always the body composition. It's not always, how skinny you look or how muscular you look. I believe for our clients that are in their 40 to 60s, all right, let's speak for those group of people, is really for them to finally, let's say, for example, for the longest time, they haven't been to a gym. And now they know the blood test result is not looking good. Better do something. It's very interesting that many of our clients I spoke to, they were like, this is my first time in the gym.
Yep.
They were in their 40s saying that. I'm like, so for the last 40 years, you resisted gym for a long time, right? So finally, they took the action to do so. Now, I wouldn't really, say that what happened before, like what's wrong with you? You didn't do anything about your health and fitness. But I believe that maybe in the past, the gyms, the way it was set up, was just not really for them.
No. think about it. In the past, I mean, if I were to just maybe something more relatable for the audiences who are not in the fitness industry. I remember, so for context, I studied in Melbourne and I lived there for almost 15 years. And for those who don't know, Melbourne is like coffee, the world's best coffee, right? So we're all coffee snobs. And I remember when I was younger, when coming back to Malaysia, coffee was kopi O, and good coffee was Starbucks. Okay, not trying to bash Starbucks or Coffee Bean, but compared to what we have today, the 12 to 15 or up to 20 ringgit proper barista lattes that we have, it's a far cry. So the question is this: what happened in the past and what happened now, right? Is it because there was no demand for it, or is it because it was just never offered, right? Why am I saying this is because in the past, coffee was kopi O, kopi cham, kopi. I'm not very familiar with all these terms, kopi teh si peng, whatever you want to call it, right? Or kopi ikat tepi. That was coffee, or 3-in-1 coffee, right? And then now you have Nespresso pods, you've got $20, you got Arabica percent and all that. If you've tasted that, would you revert back to the cheaper coffee? So most of you would probably say no. So the question is this: what happened and what evolved, right? A lot of us went to study abroad and we had a taste of what great coffee actually tastes like, what proper beans extracted properly, roasted properly, and then made into an espresso or a latte, or whatever it is. We finally understood what it was. When translated over, it became a big hit, right? So now in Malaysia, you have cafes popping out everywhere. I remember in the past, the first cafe that did it was called Artisan, and they were located in Taman Tun. Last time they were unique, and today they're just one of many other cafes out there, right? The taste buds have changed. So when people ask, like, what is Move doing, right? You're already in the business. You're already in a business where there's coffee everywhere. There's a lot of mama stores around. There's a lot of coffees everywhere. But why are you trying to introduce something that is a bit more expensive, a bit more high end? I strongly believe that we're just catering for a market that has not been catered or underserved, which is what CJ mentioned earlier, right? Just this bunch of people who actually never been to the gym, not because they don't want to, because to them the gym was Jane Fonda wearing the very sexy aerobics thing. Okay, men don't want to do it because not manly enough. And then the men who want to go to the gym, they realize that, oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Gold's Gym, rusty barbells like just clanking away. And a lot of people are just turned off by that. So I guess we created a blue ocean in a red ocean and we came to this niche. Yeah.
Yeah. So a good way to kind of put it is, imagine when it comes to food, you have your food court, your kopitiam, right? Then you have your steakhouse, okay, which is a bit more premium. And then you have your omakase, where it's customized to you, where it's very small, intimate, right? You won't see more than 5 rows of seats and chairs and tables. So yeah, we can kind of say Move is pretty much the omakase of personal training. It's very personalized. The experience, right? The 3 things I was talking about before. I think the first one we talked about results. The second one is actually the experience, right? The experience of coming in here is inclusive, high level of privacy, also security, all right? In a lot of our studios, our clients actually leave their wallets with credit cards, Amex Black Card, in just anywhere. When I walk into studio, sometimes I'm like, whoa, wow. You can never do that in most gyms.
I think also to add, just in case there are other gym owners out there who are thinking, look, we have found our niche. It works for us. Whatever works for you, it's a different target market. That's all I want to say.
All right. So experience. Another thing is this: when a client comes to the gym, yes, they are looking for their personal training. Where are you? Okay, let's get started. At the same time, we want to make sure that our entire team serve this one person together, right? For example, if they are here early, hey, do you want a cup of water? And this year, 2026, we are going to double down on hospitality.
Unreasonable hospitality.
Yes, can you tell us more about what that means, where that came from?
All right, so I read a book. I read 2 books actually. First book was about 4 Seasons, how it came about, how they built the business. So it was very interesting because with 4 Seasons, interesting thing is they have a less than 5% attrition rate. So 95% of the staff. So put it this way, the last 20 pages of the book was dedicated to their 100 over senior staff that are still with them today and averagely work for them from 10 to 60 years. Right? And so, yeah, some of them have shares as well. From a employer perspective, it's like, wow, imagine treating your people so well that they really want to be where they are and they will do their best, because you can't fake hospitality, right? You can't go like, hey, CG, here's 10 grand, do nice things to this person forever. There could be resentment later on, right? Because after a while, the value just doesn't count. So that was the business side of it. And this is part where we're also doubling down. Like CJ said, 2026, we're going to try to really give unreasonable hospitality with our team, our coaches, so that it translates. And then it comes to another book I read by this guy called Will Guidara. He owns EMP, 11 Madison Park. It's actually, I think for the past decade, they've been world's #1 restaurant. And he wrote a book entitled Unreasonable Hospitality. And in that book, what he mentioned was the food, the service, the ambiance, the music, all that is service, and service is black and white. But color is hospitality. And that really resonated with me. So like at Move, we offer great service, great coaching, great programming, great environment, but that's basic. So in that book, it just literally said that is basic. It's not your is all and all. So with unreasonable hospitality, it's really just making people, I would say our take on unreasonable hospitality for our clients is when they come in, they feel at home. They feel like it's a second home. They don't feel like they're coming here to, I'm just gonna come here to train and carry a dumbbell and lift a barbell. I'm coming here to change my life. And I'm coming here to change my life and affect my family's life, my co-workers' life, all the people around me. And I think that's what unreasonable hospitality does, right? Because we tell our managers and coaches, right? If let's say you were to give your client a good workout, nothing to shout about because it is what you are paid for, but making them feel amazing. What we've realized from feedback from our clients also is a lot of clients actually tell us this, David or CJ or our coaches, hey, you know what? I have bad days, but this 45 to 60 minutes with my coach, this is my sanctuary. This is my, what's another word for it? This is my like
Escape sometimes.
Escape. Yeah. Literally. And when we hear that, I'm getting goosebumps. And when we hear that, it's like, wow, if we can offer that amazing, mind-blowing, not just service, but that color, that hospitality, I think we've already made a change in someone's life.
Right. So what does unreasonable hospitality, if you're trying to make it very practical for the audience here, what does it look like for our coach to do for our clients?
So the word unreasonable sounds huge, right? It sounds big, right? It's like, wow, your client walks in, throw a red carpet,
white carpet, right?
Yeah, white carpet. It actually is nothing like that. Very interesting. Like in Will Guidara's book, I want to use this example because amazing. So think about it. 11 Madison Park, they charge very expensive. They do fine dining, but in a very casual format, okay? Yeah. But they still do fine dining. So there was this bunch of tourists that came by his restaurant and they were just sitting there and they were chatting. And the waiters overheard them saying, wow, first time in New York, everything has been great. And this is our last day and we're in this restaurant, world's #1 restaurant, best. And then one of the guys said, yeah, we've done everything that New York has to offer, but oh man, we didn't have time to do the New Yorker, that one New Yorker thing, which is have a hot dog, right? A New Yorker hot dog, right? Waiter heard that, talked to the manager without the people knowing. They actually went to the corner, bought a few hot dogs, all right, brought it to the kitchen, cut it up and just serve it in their own way. And they offered it to them for free. And when that came, they were like, what the Can you imagine? They've been eating very, very expensive caviar, champagne, and next thing you know, it's this New York style hot dog with your typical tomato sauce, ketchup, whatever you call it, and mustard in a hot dog bun. And interestingly enough, that meant that hot dog, that single hot dog meant more to them than anything that they've experienced. So to me, that was unreasonable hospitality. And guess what? The hot dog cost like $2 each.
Yep.
Right. So how does that look like for Move? I think there's so many. I think an example is, hey, if you see a client that is that has a bad day, and without really like digging deep in, maybe you could switch the programming to make it more fun. Maybe you could, like one of our coaches. So I'll give an example. What one of our coaches did was, hey, we're not gonna have a session in the gym. Let's go for a walk. So they went for a 45-minute walk. They still got their workout on, and the client said, I feel great. So it wasn't your textbook. Okay, I'm just gonna program the workout. Yeah. Like they just went out. Hey, we've got a nice park outside. Let's go out for a walk, and that was a session.
Yeah, and I heard that the client said that was just what I needed.
Yes, Yes.
Oh.
Goosebumps. And I feel like I feel like that's the thing, because if you're not unreasonable with your hospitality, good day or a bad day, and you just stay in your lane and you just go, okay, now let's just get this program over and done with. Yeah, you got this, blah blah blah, day in day out. Yeah, it will work, but imagine we go above and beyond, because I really resonate with this line when. So Will Guidara says this a lot in his book as well. He says people don't remember what you do for them. People remember how you make them feel. Right? That's why I said back to the hot dog example. They don't remember New York being a great city. They won't remember the amazing food they had at 11 Madison Park, but they will remember the hot dog. Not because the hot dog was great, but because they didn't ask for it, but they wanted it and it was being given to them. Just unreasonable.
Yes.
I can give you a million more examples, but I think you kind of get the gist of it, right?
Yes, I think it will be amazing if, let's say, there's a framework, SOP that we can offer you guys, which currently we're still trying to build something that's more tangible, right? So I think when I was, running an orientation for our team, I had this 9A framework of how you can actually retain 95% and above of your clients. Right. So the 9 A's, two of the A's that can help with your understanding in hospitality is being attentive. Okay. That's one thing. Being attentive. You pick up signals and signs that they might not tell you. And then you just say, hey, here you go. They would be surprised by how attentive you are. Going, how did you know? Then another A is anticipate. Anticipate the need. All right.
Before they ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be something as simple as, look, your clients always come with empty water bottle or half empty, half full. They're gonna fill it up. While they are putting their bag in, tying their hair, anticipate the need of, hey, look, let me fill up for you. Yes, I know some of you might be like, but I'm a coach, I'm not a servant. I'm not a maid. But hey, I think there's nothing wrong with doing that. Filling up a bottle, they can do it anyway, right? And yes, we are a coach. We should be doing just what the coaches need to do. But at the same time, I feel like there's still a lot of gap that can be closed. I'm not saying that you have to help them wash their feet or, I don't know, take their shoes off. Some places do that, and some other like massage or passive stretching offering that I went to, they actually help you take your shoes off. They are kneeling down, giving you a pair of slippers. I don't mean that you have to do that, but I think all these little things you can do that will actually help your retention and also helping your clients to actually want to keep coming back. That's very, very important, because how many times the clients just say, this is going to be the last time I give fitness a chance, and if this doesn't work out, gone, no more. You could be that last chance. You could be the last person that make or break that experience.
But to add to that as well, right? And maybe this also ties in back to we're straying a bit from our topic, but this ties in back to our topic of unfair advantage. Because let's be real, coaching, personal training takes a lot of presence and energy. It's quite draining. So I fully understand coaches out there. So at Move, this is something that we do, and I think it's also quite unreasonable, right? We remunerate our coaches pretty well. We also ensure that they have a good scheduling, good hours. So for example, our coaches can take anywhere between 12 to 20 clients and they would earn pretty well. So because they are taking X amount of clients and there is a limit to how many they can, not to say that we put a limit, but we do ensure that they don't go above a certain threshold that actually brings their quality down. Why I'm saying this is because I also know outside there are coaches who say they have 50 to 90 clients. How are you going to give them the attention or anticipate anything when every day is just, okay, yeah, the client, okay, client in, done, out, okay, next one, okay, next, okay, next, okay, next. So you can't offer that kind of service. So why CJ mentioned Omakase? Let's add on. If you've flown first class, one stewardess to 1 or 2 people versus economy class, one stewardess to 50 people. Omakase fine dining, literally one chef serving 2 or 3 people at one time. If there's more, there will be more chefs. Why? Because one thing about attention to detail is you cannot scale it infinitely, right? You can scale it, but you will risk diminishing the quality. So I think in order to give unreasonable hospitality, we have made sure that our gyms are this size so that we can only hire X amount of coaches so that they can do X amount of hours and X amount of clients, that we can ensure we can, sort of like get that unreasonable hospitality kind of mindset going as well. Because we can't tell a coach who's doing 10 back-to-back sessions every single day for 6 days a week to, hey, can you be more attentive? You just can't. You just cannot. They need mind space. Especially, we're both parents, right? We know we love our children, but we cannot give them that level of attention for 3 hours straight will just burn out. So that's one of the ingredients that's needed as well if you really want to move the needle for the coach and the client.
Exactly. So that was the second part that the clients ultimately are paying for, experience, right? The first part was result, experience. The third one is coach to client relationship. That's very important because at the end of the day, if it's just transactional, your retention rate will be very, very low. And the client's adherence to whatever that you want them to do, such as take a picture of your food, make sure you do your own extra workout with the program I gave you, make sure you show up early. If the coach and client relationship isn't strong, it's a lose-lose situation. So that is something that we have doubled down for the longest time. I think we put a huge emphasis on that in year 2024. We actually, created the whole module curriculum and also constantly preach about coach to client relationship, or sometimes we term it as the art of coaching.
Art of coaching, yep.
Yeah. So based on your experience, I know you did not come from fitness industry background. You only just came in your late 30s with zero coaching experience. How did you end up having so many clients to the point where they are still training now, but not with you anymore, but with other coaches that are currently in that branch? How did you find that breakthrough for yourself? I mean, you didn't have much experience.
I didn't have much experience as a coach, but I knew enough to give them the basics. But I think one of the reasons why a lot of them stayed and they're still training until today is because I never tied the personal training to me. I've always tied it to, hey, this is for you, this is your roadmap, all right? Like for example, I invest, people invest. So you invest in the S&P 500 just because, let's say for example, just because Apple changed your CEO, you don't like the person, are you going to remove your whole investment? It doesn't work like that, right? Because if it's still working, you need to ensure that the client understands that, hey, this is all a journey. Variables may change, but the outcome doesn't change. So in a way, it's more of building that very strong coach to client connection, but also making sure that, hey, this is not about me, it's not about you, this is about your future roadmap, this is more than just about you. Getting them to see the bigger picture as well. So I may not have a lot of experience when it comes to fitness and coaching, but I've run companies before, I've managed teams before, and nothing inspires people more in the long run or to play the infinite game than really just telling them what's in it for them and giving them a proper roadmap. And not just for clients, even with our coaches as well. I mean, we have an attrition rate of 5%. So we have a retention rate of 95%. Interesting enough, 95% retention rate on our coaches and 95% retention rate on our clients as well. Interesting numbers. But how do we achieve that? Is it because we pay them good money? I'm from the corporate world and I know that once you hit a certain amount of income, any extra doesn't really make a difference. So we double down on making sure that our coaches feel fulfilled, that they have a purpose. So we do the same for our clients. We need to make sure that our clients come, they work out. They're not doing this because I'm doing this because I like David. I'm doing this because I like CJ, and I'm just doing this for my coach and for me. We really want them to look beyond that. So we are trying to get our clients to understand that this is your roadmap. And the health and fitness journey is not just the bikini body that you want at the end of this year, or okay, so your cholesterol level has normal, your high blood pressure levels have normalized last month. Okay, that means we're good to go. No need to train anymore. No, we want to make sure, like what CG said earlier, that hey, health and fitness is part of your life. It doesn't stop. It's like breathing. It's like eating. It's like sleeping. And at Move Right Fitness, we're here to guide you the rest of the way, or the whole way, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Another thing that I believe we do very differently and most people aren't willing to is the fact that we actually have high accountability for our clients.
Oh, yes.
We burn their sessions. So what does that mean?
When I joined Move, what I realized was a lot of PT done right is amazing because we literally change people's lives. We get people to be less sick, stronger, more independent. It's very life-changing. But maybe the way the industry is, I feel like PTs, I'm saying this, I'm just gonna say it bluntly, PTs have no backbone, right? Clients can cancel them anytime because they don't feel like it, or I'm stuck in the jam, I don't feel like coming. You wouldn't do that to your accountant, you wouldn't do that to your doctor, you wouldn't do that to your wife or husband. You wouldn't do that to your friends.
I wouldn't.
Right? Whoa, that felt personal. So what I'm trying to say is, at Move, we really give our coaches the tools to help our clients get the results. And we all know that the science shows that you can pay as much money as you want, but if you don't do the work, you don't work out, you don't stick to your nutritional needs and all that, you're not going to get the results, or you're going to get it in very small increments over too long of a time, and you end up just giving up because it doesn't inspire you anymore, right? So we give our coaches a lot of tools. We hold our coaches to a very high level of accountability, but because of that, they also, with our systems and our terms and conditions, we also hold our clients to a very high level of accountability. Because we also want clients to know the realistic, like we want them to have a realistic breakthrough, so we have to be very realistic with them, right? We can tell them you actually pay 100% of the money, but the coaches do 5% of the work. No joke. We will inspire you. We will write your program, but we can't eat for you. We can't hold the dumbbell or carry it for you. So you have to do 95% of the work. So when we manage the expectations and we give them a roadmap, clients feel very confident being in this ecosystem to get to where they need to go.
You know, the other day when I ran an orientation, so one of our coaches that been working with us for a while now, he came and shared with the new guys, right? And then he said, there was this client that he had difficulty dealing with. He just did not want to come in and actually do the work. He just chatted a lot. Even when the client was about to get into the next set, he would just be like, oh, yeah, and talk for another 3 minutes, which in a workout like this, you don't need 3 or more minutes of rest, unless you're powerlifting, right? Or training for competition of any other sports that require longer. Anyway, so this coach, he said he actually, had a chat with a client and just say, hey, look, kind of talking through how serious he is and all that stuff. So 2 weeks ago, when I ran an orientation for all the new joiners, coaches that have joined us in the last few months or weeks, we actually got one of our coaches to come and share, right, how it's been working at Move. And I asked him the question of, what's been your toughest client and how did you deal with him or her? So he said he had this client that came in, initially started getting results, but slowly the personal training sessions just turned out to be a lot of talking, and the results start diminishing, right? He said this client would always renew. But then when it came time for the most recent renewal, he was like, hey, let's just say, give this client the name of John. Hey, John, it's time to renew. And then the client actually say, yeah, I'll renew. He said, no, that's not what I was getting into. I think he just felt like, as a coach himself, if the client's just gonna pay him, just chat, hang out, should have a proper chat, right? And so he went through a chat with him to see whether or not, he's still serious about the goal and result. He didn't really like that, right? For some coaches, sure, you can do all that, right? Maybe you have a few clients that are like that, but for him, he just felt like that hour that he spent in his life, in his career with his client, wasn't truly living to his purpose. And also another thing is he said the client was quite defensive and, quite nasty from time to time. So he just ended up not renewing this client. So imagine the coach having the ability to have the power to say, no, I don't want to renew you because it is not aligned with why I do what I do here as a coach. And that also means that the coach to client relationship is always going to be a genuine one where both parties come together, right? Make that 2 hours a week come together for a very, very good purpose.
So how many gyms out there or personal trainers out there actually do that? Or are they just like, you know what, I'm getting paid, I want to get paid, so I'm just gonna chat with you for an hour. I'm gonna get paid anyway.
Yeah, I think most people would just take that money.
Correct. And then they are like, hey, I'm very passionate with coaching and changing people's lives.
I think I'm guilty of that in the past, 10 years ago when I was a coach, when I was freelancing, because when you're freelancing, you just kind of need the money, right? Right. But then at the same time, there was no platform like Move for me to just come in here, have more security when it comes to income, have great pay and great career path. So being a freelancer back then, it was tough to say no, even though the money is in front of you.
Yep.
Right. And there was no, like mentor and all that, shit saying like, hey, look, hold on to your value.
Maybe if I were to sum it up into one sentence, right? So we can move on to the next segment is, I think at Move, we want coaching to be intentional. Intentional for the coach, intentional for the client. And we try to remove as much fluff and noise in the middle. Because at the end of the day, it's very simple, right? Happy coach, happier client. Even happier client is a client that gets results. And when a client gets results, coaches feel more inspired to do what they do. if you're really passionate about changing people's lives, it shouldn't be, oh, I change people's lives because I'm gossiping every day with you, but no results. That's not changing people's lives. They're just capoing in people's lives, right? So I feel like at Move, we really ask our coach, like, hey, you're passionate about training someone. What kind of difference do you want to make? How do you do it? And nothing speaks louder than results. The journey to the results is what we're all about as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're not really going through all the hassle of getting certified, going to workshops, just to be here.
Just to gossip with someone for 2 hours.
Yeah.
A week.
And that client, the case study just now, was chatting 70% of the time. Of that 1 hour, that would be 40 plus minutes.
Maybe that's why personal trainers in the industry, when you go visit your relatives, are like, hey, go get a real job. Because it's not respected. And why is it not respected? Because that thing that you mentioned, the whole talking and gossiping and stuff like that, is probably one of many things that personal trainers do that they should not do, versus the things that they need to do to make this profession something that's respected and elevated. Because like I said, we actually change people's lives. But we're not going to change people's lives if we're just sitting down and gossiping and just like counting reps, or coming in, and just telling people, okay, yeah, the machine's free, just do that again, and do that and do that, and no proper programming. Right? Just imagine you send your kid to a private school, you pay for tuition, you pay for all the money, and there's no standard 1, standard 2, standard 3 syllabus. It's just more like, come in, oh, this math book is available, oh, this classroom is available, okay, everyone just lump in there, and let's I'm just gonna turn on the TV, you guys talk to each other, and I'll see you during graduation. We
Yeah.
laugh, but I feel like, and I know a lot of people are gonna get offended, right? But if you do, please, either I'm wrong or look in the mirror, right? I feel like the fitness industry is something like that, right?
Yep.
It's like a school with no syllabus, everyone just jump in, just muscle only, and then, yeah.
To be honest, if you really want fulfillment in this career, it ultimately comes down to the quality of your clients. Really. A huge part of it is determined by the quality of your clients. I believe that same thing goes for, if you're an agency, if you're in an industry. When you have nasty clients or clients that don't really show up to also, help you fulfill why you're there in the first place, you're not gonna last that long. I used to have many clients, some of them very serious, got results. Those were the ones that I look forward to their sessions. Even though they could be slower, they could be overweight, they could, only do very few things.
Can I ask you one thing as well? Let me guess. Those are also the clients that give you the most referral, write you testimonies. They will do all these kind of things.
They will do homework as well.
Correct.
And the ones that just want to come in and chit chat. At first, it was fun. I'm like, oh, getting paid for this, because I love talking, so getting paid to talk. But after a while, I dreaded those sessions, to be honest. When I looked at my schedule, I'm like, oh, can I just do it because I need the money? I could have just passed him or her on to someone else that might be okay with all that, and it would have made my career as a personal trainer a lot more fulfilling. So having said that, I think, yes, building rapport, talking to your clients, very, very important. You can do that outside of the gym. You can schedule a coffee chat. Hey, look, why not we meet after training session downstairs and then have a coffee, all right? That way we can do it properly. And then let's treat the space as a holy, sacred place where you are doing everything to fill your own cup, lifting heavier, get yourself stronger, and sweat a little bit. Some of you want to sweat.
Yeah, I think, again, just intentional.
All right. That's all for today. And please subscribe and leave your comments below which part resonated with you and what you would like to learn more of through this podcast.
Don't forget to disagree with us as well if you do.
Okay.
All right.
See you soon.